Hey guys, so in today's video lesson we're going to start topic 11. 11-1 is analyzing data displays. I really think you guys will like topic 11. So we're getting out of quadratics and now we're getting in our statistics part of the textbook, and I think you guys will really like statistics. It's a lot easier than quadratics, okay? So the table displayed below has the number of points scored by our football team during the 2019 season. So each one of these is a score that we had during the 2019 season. Coach wants us to look at this data, so please copy down the table. You need to pause the video and copy it down. Alright? So for example 1, we're going to create a dot plot to show the data. To create a dot plot, we need to draw a number line that represents the range of the data. So if you look over here at our data, okay, our lowest point is 7, and our highest point is 49. So there's a number line from 7 to 49, literally every single number between 7 and 49. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a dot. We're going to plot each value from the table as a dot above the number line, okay? So we're going to start at 48, and we're going to work our way from left to right, and we're going to do the top one first and then the bottom one, all right? So, 48. Okay, we're going to plot a dot at 48. Let me change that from red. I don't really like the red. Okay, so at 48, we're going to plot a dot, and then 40. Okay, and I'm crossing them out that way you don't repeat a dot and you don't forget to do a dot, okay? So, 43 is our next one. We're going to plot a dot at 43. And we're going to plot a dot at 35. We're going to plot a dot at 38. At 21. And then 38 happens again. So what you're going to do here is you're going to actually plot the dot on top of the dot that you already plotted. So they should be up and down in a row. So there should be 2 dots at 38. So 49, we're going to plot a dot. Oh, that one kind of sucks, though. Let's get that lower. 35. We already have a 35, so we're going to plot it on top. We've got a 31. And again, 35 happens again, so you got to put the dot on top of the other 2 dots. And then 29. 29. And then we'll put a 7, okay? And that one's way over here, right? So cluster is dots that are close to each other. Okay, so they're dots that they cluster together. They're really close to each other. And we have this cluster here between 35 and 40. Okay, they're really close to each other. They're not that far apart. So our first cluster is between 35 and 40. Now, if we look at the rest of our picture, okay, we've got another cluster that's really close together, and that's right here at 48 and 49, right? They're right next to each other. So we've got another cluster from 48 to 49. Awesome. Okay. Now we need to look at our outliers. Outliers are dots that fall outside of the rest of the data. Okay? So 21 and these are pretty close, right? 21's not that far from 29. Those are pretty close. But way out here, we got this 7. And 7 is so far away from the data, it is considered an outlier. So our outlier is 7. So dot plots show you the frequency of each number. So if you come up here, right, 35 happens 3 times. That's why we have 3 dots, which means 35 has a frequency of 3. So, okay, 35, it appears 3 times in our data. So, 35 has a frequency, let me spell frequency right, So 35 has a frequency of 3. Okay? Alright, guys. So that's the end of our first example. Alright, that's just making a dot plot, looking at the clusters, and looking out the outliers, okay? Okay, guys. So, next example, we're also going to create a histogram to show the data. Okay, so we're going to use the same data, but now we're going to create a histogram. So to create a histogram, we need to decide an appropriate interval for the data. To do that, we will create a frequency table. The intervals on the table have to be consistent. So if you look at the scores, I broke up the scores into categories of 6. There are 6 numbers between 7 and 12. There are 6 numbers between 13 and 18. There's 6 numbers between 19 and 24. So, like I said, it's all the way through. This is consistent. Scores of 6. Scores of 6 numbers in each interval. Okay? So we're going to look at our frequency. We need to look at our data over here on our table and see if we have any scores between 0 and 6. Now we don't have anything that falls between 0 and 6, so we're going to leave that blank. Then we need to look at our next category, okay, our next interval. This interval is between 7 and 12. So we need to find anything in here that's on our table that's between 7 and 12. We only have one number between 7 and 12, and that's 7. So you're going to put a 7 right there. You're going to put a tally for the 7. So you're going to put that's a tally mark for 7, because we only have one number. And we need to look at 13 through 18. Do we have any numbers in our table that fall between 13 and 18? No, we don't. Okay? So, again, leave that blank. Now we're going to do 19 to 24. Do we have any number that falls between 19 and 24? So 48 doesn't, 40 doesn't, 43 doesn't, 35 doesn't, 38 doesn't, but 21 does. So we're going to put one tally for 21. We have 38, 49, 35, 31, 35, 29. Nothing else falls in that category or in that interval. So we're going to move on to the next one. The next one is 25 to 30. So we need to look and see if we have anything that falls between 25 and 30. We've got 48, 40, 43, 35 doesn't, 38 doesn't, 38 doesn't, 49 doesn't, 35 doesn't, 31 doesn't, 35 doesn't, but 29 does. So we've got one right here. Now we need to look at 31 through 36. See which ones fall between 31 and 36. 48 doesn't, 40 doesn't, 43 doesn't, 35 does. So we're going to plot that one. We're going to put a tally for 35. Okay, 38 doesn't, 38 doesn't, 49 doesn't fit that category. 35 again, that fits. 31 is between 31 and 36, so we're going to use that one too. So we got tallies. And 35 happens again, so that falls in that category. Okay. Now we've gone through all our points, so now we got to go to our next one. We've got 37 to 42. 37 to 42. Okay. 48 doesn't fit that category, but 40 does. 43, that's just over, so that doesn't fit. We've got 38 left. 38's between 37 and 42, so we're going to put a tally. 38 happens again. Awesome. See, look, we're almost done. Then we have 43 through 48. 43 through 48. Well, 48, that fits. That's in that category. 43, that also fits in that category. Okay, we only have one number left, and that's 49, and that doesn't fit between 43 and 48. So we've got one interval left. The last interval is between 49 and 54. So, as we look at our data, we only have one number, so we're going to put that one number there. Okay. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to take our tallies and we're going to build, it's kind of going to look like a bar graph, but it's not a bar graph. It is going to be a histogram, and the reason for that is because it is going to be, let's choose a different color. It is a histogram because it's going to have spaces in the data, okay? There's not, all the bars are not going to be smushed next to each other. So, okay, we don't have anything between 0 and 6, so we need to go to 7 through 12. If you look here, right, our frequency, it's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we need to, for a frequency of 1, we need to go between 0 and 2. So we need to be about halfway, and try your best. I know it's hard. Okay, so we're between 0 and 2. Then we need to do 13 through 18. Well, we don't have anything there, so you're not going to put anything. Then again, 19 through 24, that happens once. So you're going to, okay. And these need to be pretty, they should be the same width and like the same height. I know you're doing it by hand. If you have a ruler, that'll help a lot. Then we've got 25 through 30. So 25 through 30 is again 1. Perfect. So let me kind of smush these together. Boom. Boom. All right. Now we need to look at our next category, 31 through 36. We've got 4. So we are going to, okay, go all the way up to 4. Awesome. Okay. All the way up to 4, okay? Because we've got 4 tallies. Then we need to do 37 to 42. We have 3, so we're going to go between 2 and 4. So we'll try our best to be halfway. I know it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Boom. All right. Now we need to do 43 through 48, and that's going to be, okay, that's going to go all the way to the 2 because we have 2 tallies. Awesome. So these should be next to each other. They should be all touching each other. Awesome. Okay. Then 49 to 54. We've got 1. So let's draw the 1. Boom. Alright guys, so there is our histogram. Okay, it's different from a bar graph because a bar graph we wouldn't have spaces. You see how we don't have data points between 0 and 6, and we don't have data points between 13 and 18. So, alright guys, this is our histogram.